Have you ever wondered why your child can watch 3 hours of videos but can't spend 5 minutes reading their favorite chapter book? Why they can remember everything that came up on their favorite YouTube video that they just watched but can't tell you what they just read on the last page? Now, is this actually happening? Is screen time actually affecting how your children learn to read? Or is this just another parenting myth? So today, we're here to talk about what the research, as well as what I see in everyday evaluations and practice, actually says about reading and screen time, because the answer may surprise you. Let's get one thing out of the way first. Screens are not automatically bad. There are a number of things that screens can do to help your child. They can help them to go anywhere in the world at the drop of a hat. They can find out what something means just by punching it in. They can do speech to text. They can have books read to them. They can find out new words and speak new languages, all by interacting with the technology. So it's not that the technology is bad. And the question isn't, are screens good or bad? A better question is, what are the screens replacing? Because that's where the conversation needs to start. Now, for starters, screen time is passive, while reading is active. When you're reading, you have to break down the words. You have to remember how those words are spelled. You have to picture things in your mind. You have to predict what's going to happen next. You have to synthesize and analyze information that you heard, and you have to guess and predict what might be coming up in the future. You have to remember the characters. There's a lot of things that you have to do when you're reading, which is not always the case with visual and digital entertainment. A lot of the visual and digital entertainment is very, very passive. So they do everything for you. The music creates the suspense. The visuals create the emotions. And then all the activity creates the laughter. And then there's constant reinforcement in the form of changing scenes and bright lights and flashing colors, and everything is just happening and popping and just crazy, and it's a great place for a child to be. But it's totally different than reading a book. There are two different activities that the brain are doing, and they interact with the brain differently. Parents often come to me and say, my child can't pay attention to nothing. They can't focus for 5 minutes. And then I see them sit down and watch a movie for 2 hours. So what's happening? It's not like the child can't pay attention at all, but digital devices reward attention differently. So the digital devices provide constant gratification, immediate gratification, quick changing of scenes, loud, colorful blasts, and bursts of beautiful music that they enjoy. This is totally different than how books build attention. With books, you have to sustain the attention. You have to use what you have previously read, your memory, which also involves attention, to pull information to make sense of what you're reading now. That also helps you to project what might be coming up next in the story, so you stay entertained and you stay focused. So it's not like one is good or one is bad. They're both valuable, but they're both different. But the one involving reading definitely takes practice. Vocabulary develops differently. One of the strongest predictors of reading comprehension is vocabulary. Those with a large vocabulary can read things and then understand what those things are talking about. You can develop vocabulary by having conversations, by having group conversations, by being read to, by listening to conversations of those with higher vocabularies, or even speaking with those that have higher vocabularies. Digital devices just don't do the same thing. The richer the conversation, the stronger the language foundation. Less reading practice means slower reading growth. Here is where digital devices have the biggest impact. It's not that they're just turning your brain into mush to the point where you can't read, but if you're spending 3 hours a night on screen time, that's 3 hours less that you're spending reading. So you're not talking to other people. You're not developing your vocabulary. Your reading comprehension is getting lower. You're not developing those high-level thinking skills, those prediction skills. So you really have to ask yourself, well, if they're engaged in digital devices for 3 hours or 4 hours a day, does that leave them any time for reading? In order to get better, it takes practice. So in order to improve your reading, you must read. Some screen activities actually help reading. Now, here's the part people don't expect. There are actually research and practice to show that some digital devices and some screen time that actually can improve reading. So if you're reading along with a digital device that's giving you the correct words, if you're engaged in phonics practice, if you're engaged in flashcards or the rapid repetition of high frequency words, all those things can help you. Even if you have the sound off and you're reading the subtitles, that can help you. I once had a child come up to me and say, "Wow, where's all this ominous music coming from?" And I said, "Ominous? Where'd you get that from?" "Oh, I was reading the subtitles on Netflix the other day." So things like that can definitely be beneficial. So you have to really look at the quality of the screen time and make sure that you have a screen time balance so that you can have some effective use without just trying to ban everything. Now, what should parents do? Don't throw every single tablet away. Don't take a hammer to all your iPads. Simply replace television, screen time, digital devices with 20 minutes of reading to start with. And don't set it up by saying, "Okay, now we're going to read for 20 minutes," because you're going to raise up the anxiety and you might get a fight or flight response. Just ease on into it. Just show up with the book and say, "Hey, look at this." And you start reading and you start to enjoy it together. So laugh together about what's happening in the book. Have them predict what's going to happen next. Have them make up another story of what they wish would have happened next in the story. All that is helping them to engage with the paper, engage with the words that are on that paper, and also use their mind to break it all down and synthesize it. So it's not an all or nothing that you must just destroy the digital devices before you're taken over. But you want to keep a balance. You want to have them engaged in some digital activities, but they need to be the kind that helps and supports their reading. But more often than that, just replace a little bit, 20 minutes at a time, with actual reading. Try a paper and pencil book or something with just regular print. Start there, and then you can work your way on up to 40 minutes and then on to an hour. So if your child continues to struggle with reading, even after regular practice, you may want to look a little bit closer, and that's when a comprehensive evaluation comes into play. So that's when you'll have more questions, but those questions will be answered. You'll understand where their strengths are, where their weaknesses are, and are there any underlying processes that may be impacting their ability to read fluently. Like I said, there are strengths and weaknesses to everybody. Not everybody is meant to read 1,000 words per minute like some people can. So we all have differences, and we just need to respect those differences. So just make sure that you're consistent. But remember, if you don't see the development and the growth that you want to see or that you should expect, then that's when you want to seek a comprehensive evaluation. Technology isn't the enemy. Screen time can have a detrimental impact if it's replacing actually reading. Remember, in order to get better at something, you must do something. So you don't get better at reading just by staring at the letters on the page. You get better at reading by having conversations with people, engaging with the material, breaking down the words, recalling information that you just read. All of those types of activities help you to develop your reading, your language, and your ability to comprehend the information, the most important part. So if you still feel like you have questions, definitely check out what I have linked below, the Kafele's first 100 word list, which will help you to identify what your child can't do and what they can do when it comes to reading. I've broken down all 100 words by how easy they are, how many letters and how many syllables are in each word. So you can go from the least effort to the most effort, but they're very common, and that will be a first step in seeing, is this something that I can just work on my own, or do I need extra support? And if you do need that support, don't hesitate to reach out to us by checking out the link in our bio. And if you feel like somebody else can use this, don't hesitate to share this with them. Make sure you like, subscribe, share. And if you like information on psychology, on education, on screen time, you have to do nothing else but this one thing that I always ask people to do. And that is stay